Okay guys, so we're taking another look at Shadows of Forbidden Gods. Today we're going to look at Alpha 0.4. There's quite a number of changes in this alpha, quite a few changes, significant changes as well since our playthrough session with She Who Will Feast. So what I'm going to do is cover those, not all the changes because there's tons of them, to be honest guys. There's so many different balance changes and little tweaks, but I'm going to cover the main ones as I see it in this video, and kind of try and do it in a sensible order, but I'll follow that through in a second, and we'll go through different changes, what I think about those changes and how they impact on the game. So without further ado, okay, so the first thing that we have that's new is this new art for one of the gods, V0.4. I absolutely love this art. I love the direction that it's gone in. It really suits the goddess. V0.4 is a god that deals really with temptation, and I think this kind of evil but kind of subtly beautiful dryad slash treant type creature that she is here, this goddess, is just fantastic. She's got a barked hand there outstretched offering gifts, but obviously the gifts come with a pretty hefty price. These fruits as well look pretty juicy but also a bit worrisome. Absolutely love that new art, and it does fit in far better with the other professionally created art, that is Iasta the Laughing King. That's this here. I think this also looks fantastic. And then we have, I think the next god to have art is going to be probably She Who Will Feast, as this was drawn by the developer himself and he admits that he's no artist. I think we can see that. I mean, it's good, but in comparison to this or this, it falls a bit flat. So I suspect that's going to be the next god to get art, but V0.4 and her new art is the first of the new updates in this pretty large update, to be honest. We'll come on to the next one in a second. Okay, so the next change that I want to talk about is a change to the standard victory condition that's known as the conquest victory condition. You can see at the top right there, it's currently at 0% in this game that I've just started, just loaded up. So each god has two ways to win the game. The first and the standard way that every god shares is the conquest victory. The second victory condition is normally a god specific, so it might be completing a ritual, enshadowing X amount of the map, converting X amount of the map into wildlands, or it's different depending on the god or goddess that you've chosen at the time. But the conquest victory is stable for any god, and all gods can access it. And previously, it was just based on how many settlements you had destroyed or enshadowed. That was all it was, literally a count of how many settlements you destroyed or enshadowed. It's a bit more complex now, and I've got to be honest, I much prefer the change. So if I hover over here, you'll see. Now what happens is you get different points. It's a points-based system. You need 78 points to win in this example, on this map here. And we can accomplish different things to accrue points. So if we destroy a settlement, you get 2 points per destroyed settlement. If you, in this case, manifest with V0.4, you get 3 points. If you get a hero or ruler enshadowed, you get 1 point. If you make a hero or ruler insane, you get 1.75 points per hero or ruler. And if you do both enshaddow and make the ruler or hero insane, you get 2 points. A Dark Empire is also worth 2 points, so if there's a city or a location within a Dark Empire, that's worth 2 points. But as you can see, these stack up pretty quick, and it gives you a great flexibility, or a lot more flexibility, in terms of the strategy that you can move forward with. No longer are you just restricted to destroying or enshadowing settlements. Now you've got a bit more flexibility. You can turn people insane. You can destroy settlements still, of course. You could do god-specific things too in there. So there is quite a bit more flexibility in that. And I love this change. I think it's fantastic for the game. I think it opens up many more strategies and play styles. And I'm really excited to see where this can go, because as the developer adds different ways to mess with mortals, they could form part of this conquest victory, potentially. Anyway, on to the next one. The next change in this update that I want to talk about since we've last done our playthrough is the creation of a new agent. So if I click on create agent here, you'll see them pretty quick, I think. It's this one, the trickster. So the trickster is a new agent that the developer has added, Bobby Two Hands, and I'm going to do a separate video just specifically about the agents, I think in detail. So I'm not going to cover in a massive amount of detail right now, but effectively she's brilliant. She can mess with relationships between heroes and other heroes, heroes and potential enemies, nations and each other. She's quite the manipulative woman, effectively. She can also give profile and menace from your agents to heroes, so effectively frame them for things that your agents have done that can be incredibly powerful. She's also available from the start, which is a great thing, so you can immediately create her, and if I click on her here, you can create her anywhere. As you can see, she can go in any location on the map, so she can go anywhere. She's pretty flexible. I could just pop her down here in this city if I wanted to. And yeah, she has some very, very fun abilities. The next change I want to speak about is related to the trickster, actually. So let's just create her 1 second, and we'll do adorable monkey as our new trait. So as you can see there, when this trait is first acquired, the two nearest heroes without any opinion on the agents will gain a liking towards them. So as we can see, before being recruited, the trickster's path took her to the various villages and cities nearby, and her pet and accomplice, Mr. Edgar, the adorable monkey, gained her many friends. Dr. Saglova Vramfit was one of these and retains fond memories, as does Princess Beckel Verge. Dismiss these. Now, if I click on a location real quick, or a hero actually, but you might note that there's this extra button here, so we can see the home, City of Steaks, but we can also see the family. If I click on the family, it'll bring up a family tree. And as you can see, this hero is married to the trickster, a bit dramatic. So this is going to be an interesting playthrough, I suspect, if I continue with it. And they are also have other family in the Baroness here, and the and this hero here, Vilasai Vramfit and Fowain Vramfit. Now they're all family and they belong to the same house, as it were. You can, not yet, but in the future, curse specific houses, give them bloodline curses that will come in a magical update that will potentially debilitate entire houses. But this is, as you can see, and as you can imagine, the hero, if our trickster was killed by another hero, and rightfully so, if there had been some crime she committed and she was killed for her crimes, her husband, Dr. Saglova Framfit, would not be happy at this turn of events, and would potentially, his house would declare war on the other house. So when you're doing your things with the courtier as well now, when you're causing your scandals between the nations, you can cause some absolute carnage because the houses can literally go to war. We can do the same thing with the Verge family. There's a bit larger, so we've got a queen here who's the parents of this princess. We've got Baron here, another princess, and we've got a duchess. This is great. Looking at this, oh, and the heroes, while I'm on that screen, also have ages. So you can see here that Princess Beckel Verge is 29 years old, and she belongs to the society known as the Nation of Deborah Fry. But this causes so much drama when you're playing the game. It's absolutely fantastic. You can really cause some issues if you get different houses fighting, or even if, let's say we killed this hero, other heroes or members of their family might grieve them. They might go insane because of the grief. They might pull together because of the grief. It depends really, but it can be fairly consequential. And again, it's a huge change. It really does emphasise the storytelling aspects of the game. Now we can get to anybody's family here, the essence. which I think I tended to do anyway, but you can go to a ruler, Duchess, CS. It's quite fun to go to the chosen one actually and see how their family is. Ah, interesting. So they're married to a king, Gralink, and they have a child, Ulsa, Prince Bulk Ulsa, and the Baroness Vers Ulsa as part of their family. Interesting. Monvinter Ulsa. But yes, this can be useful for the player. It can also be useful for the heroes as well and the rulers to band together. So it's such a good change in terms of the storytelling dynamic. You can get houses fighting each other, at war with each other. It becomes a little bit like Game of Thrones-esque in some regard. Great change, absolutely love it. Right, on to the next one. I wanted to cover this real quick. So something that I believe is new. It might have been in the game, but it might have been happening in the background previously. But insane heroes now will act on their insanity and will potentially do things to disrupt other heroes. And when they do so, it'll tell you why they did it. So in this case, Mad Exorcist Pine Blaines felt compelled to disrupt Mediator Serenity because of their burning hatred towards them, antagonized by their suspicion that they're doing something as part of some dark scheme. So because she's insane, she's paranoid effectively, and that paranoia is causing her to lash out at her fellow heroes. Again, it's a great change. If these heroes are at war, they might attack each other, and it would explain that here. And this again is just going to grow and grow and grow. Love it. Excellent change as part of that narrative. Another change I want to cover is the change to how events, mid-challenge events are displayed. So it's a minor thing really, but it makes a massive difference. I've moaned about this before in my previous playthrough, but previously this screen was full screen, the Merchants of Antiquities, and it had great art, great text, etc. You got your choices, but it didn't show this, and this is key. So we can see here the stats of the supplicant. We can see his hit points, we can see his sanity, we can see his profile, his menace, all useful information. We can see his gold. Do you want to buy an inscrutable item? Do you want to buy a cheap one, etc. You can also minimize this. So if it was an event whereby we lost progress on our challenge, you could minimize this, go to the supplicants, and find out how long they had left and what that impact of the loss would be on their progress. So massive. And then just click this to return to decision event. Huge change. Absolutely love this. Of course, minimize, we can also see the items that he's got available. So he's got this and this exquisite mask and the bag of bone as well. So do we want a trinket, or do we want to go for something a bit more interesting? Let's do this since we just oh, we got a nice, oh okay, rival shield, we'll take it. There we are, done. Thank you, sir. But that's a great change, massive change. It's a quality of life thing, but it is hugely beneficial to the player. So very pleased with that change. Okay, another thing I wanted to show is a change here in that your agents can actually gain so much profile and menace that they actually will be stopped by armies within cities. Again, it's a very narrative change. They're effectively or considered so dangerous that entire armies, as you can see here, will attempt to hurt them and stop them being in the location. So in this case, the army of Masako has blocked Warlord or Ginada, as they are too high menace and high profile to avoid patrolling the guards as they attempt to perform a challenge. They have taken 1 HP of damage while escaping and will continue to do so until they leave the location. While an army is at rest, so if it's not fighting another army, they patrol constantly, and if an agent's menace is at least 40 and their profile 30, they will be recognised and attacked, unless the home city is greater than 50% shadow. So you can in shadow cities and armies to avoid this, and you can see this on the map screen. When you select, I'll show you now, just missed that a second. When I select the Warlord, we can see that the army here has got these red spikes that mean that they don't like him, they will attack him. Again, it's a great change. It stops you just going, rocking up with an agent that's incredibly deadly and just sitting at a location, happy as Larry. Very narrative, very fluffy. So something that's been added in the latest patch as well is for our Warlord. So Warlord Khorne here can do he has some new abilities, and the main ability that I want to talk about right now is Raiding Party. So if I do this challenge, it actually turns his piece, rather than an agent as he is now, to an army that we can control and take to places. It's only a small army, it's not particularly powerful, but still it gives you a little bit more flexibility. You could take it off, you could try and take out tiny little nations that are very small or very weak. Something like this would be an easy target for him. But it does give you a lot of tactical flexibility. And it's also very thematic, right? The Orc Warlord really should be at the head of a massive Orc army. So I'll just let that quickly finish. Dismiss her going insane for a second. And we'll just use a distraction there. So there we are, he's created his raiding party. So if we dismiss this now, as you can see, he's now actually an army. Now we've got two options. We can abandon the army, which turns him back into an agent. Or, and bear in mind though, if you do that, you still gain profile and menace. Or we can recruit more raiders and increase our strength. You can see here his hit points only 6 out of 33. We can recruit more raiders and increase that strength quite significantly, so it can go up to 33. I don't know if it can get any higher. The highest I've ever seen it is 33. I think it might be some function of the Orc nation from which it is spawned. But either way, it's a great ability and a great addition to the game. On to the next one. Okay, the final thing that I wanted to show in this update video to Shadows of Forbidden Gods is some narrative events that the developer has added to the way that family members can interact with each other. So I've mentioned there's different houses and that they have certain traits, and those traits can be exploited. You can make houses fight each other. Well, a very interesting thing is that different family members and indeed different members of different houses can interact with each other. And this is a good example here. We can see that because Baroness Pinane Pierfonte's sister, Mad Duchess Frian's Pierfonte, is falling to shadow. Her soul is slipping away. Her mind's weakening as the darkness seeps in. This Baroness Pinane Pierfonte can only watch in powerless horror as this happens. So she's spending nights in sleepless fits, consumed by visions of her sister joining the insidious cults which work against humanity. Which is absolutely happening, by the way, but as she watches this, she's actually going insane as well, as we can see. So her insanity has dropped by 10, and she's gaining a hatred for Shadow. So if I just quickly look at it, she should have, let's have a look, maybe it happens once I've resolved the event, but her sanity should drop, and she should get a repelled by Shadow here. So let's return to the event. Oh, this is also new, so we can actually view the person here. As you can see, we can click on the person to view them. We can also keep this, but you could click on the view person button here and it will obviously bring that person up. You can minimize and go around the map if you wish to have a look at what else is going on. I can click off there to get off of that. But so let's do that. The stress is unfathomable. Pinane Pierfonte, where is she? Fort Riffiez. Right, I'll come back there in a second. Nothing we can do there. So now if we hover over her, yeah, repelled by shadow, look at her sanity there has dropped by 10, as the event suggested. So I really love this. Oh, and you click on the ruler, or indeed the air now, and you can actually keep the information panel up here, which is really useful just when you want to, you can have a look around the map but still keep the information about this person up, which is really useful. Little UI benefit there, but still a welcome benefit nonetheless. But yes, anyway, to finish that, as we can see, this Baroness Pinane Pierfonte is now repelled by shadow and she's lost 10 sanity, as that event suggested. So, again, great change. It's a very narratively driven change. I think the developer's going to add quite a few of these because I believe that he enjoys doing so, which is good for the game because it's starting to feel very much like a narrative sandbox where as you're trying to conquer the world or destroy the world or turn the world mad or whatever the case may be, these different stories start to emerge. And previously, in the first playthrough that I did, you probably noticed the story is fairly basic, fairly simplistic. You can see there's some depth there, but you have to look into it. The game and some of the additions, particularly in this latest patch, have really started to take on a bit of a world of their own. And it's a lot more narratively focused. There are there's a lot more fluff text behind what's going on in the game, if that makes sense. So you can see that, oh, okay, this person's going, this person hates this person because of such and such. And it really does add to the game and the feeling of the game, I suppose, as you're playing it. It really gives it a bit of a story. You know, you drive the chosen one insane, or you drive, the chosen one's family insane, and you see the outcomes of that, and it plays out, I wouldn't say necessarily realistically, but it certainly plays out in an entertaining way. And it really does highlight it as well, which is fantastic. So anyway, that's my video on the update to Shadows of Forbidden Gods, guys. We're going to be going on to a playthrough with this funky character here, Iasta, the Laughing King. I'll be doing a playthrough with him, and we'll see how he gets on in terms of his efforts to conquer the world. If you've got any comments or questions or anything, just throw them in the video below. Throw them, in the relevant place in the video below. If you like the video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more of this sort of content, please do subscribe. And otherwise, I will hopefully see you again very soon. Thank you for watching.